everybody. My name is Valentino Navarrete, and I'm doing my research paper on No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. So what I'm going to talk about for my research paper is the progress of my research paper and about the story, about what he actually created and conducted my research about the story. So for the topic, the story is called No Country for Old Men, which develops the idea of impactful life experience of human drama, which follows a man who stumbles onto a drug deal gone bad and tries to get away in the case full of money as a hitman and the sheriff both pursue him. And with this, it concepts of character building and desire of consequences and being a human, which actually has capable of desires and for us to compare with them as well. So with McCarthy's writing style, he uses a great deal of scene description, and he often includes violent scenes without suggesting the reader responding with specific emotional response, which it suggests that the reader knows like what's going on and how the situation should be dealt with, or not how it should be dealt with. And also it also draws the vast observed desert landscapes of the west of Texas, which are portrayed as being a unforgiving on the novel antagonist, which actually brings up to Sheriff Bell and the other antagonist who actually had the money, had the full of case of money. And also with this, it actually has two conflicts within the story that he created, which is the first one as man versus himself, knowing like, is this the right thing to do or this is the wrong thing to do, choosing one thing or another. And on the second conflict is man versus man, presented by Louis Moss and Ante Churi, where knowing that one side has to lose or the other one has to win, knowing that but one of them has to become a man about it. So we're creating about this topic for my research paper. I want to focus on the other side of the story, which actually foreshadows much of the violence and tragedy, which actually portrays throughout the story and create a tired, hopeless, and disillusioned throughout the story, knowing that sometimes violence should not be the answer, but sometimes violence has to be the answer to actually get what you want. For this, I actually really enjoy the progress of someone that actually have gone through from difficult decision making and the mistakes from their past, and having strong feeling of guilt inside, such as that Sheriff Bell, when he described when he was in Vietnam War, he actually did some betrayal among his men, trying to survive on his own, not saving his own former men, and actually having that betrayal inside of him and thinking about his past, which reflected to him into the present time throughout the story. Which this has another side of us, describes more about us as well, and how that could change the way we feel and present a changing world where evil threatens to destroy mankind's virtue and goodness, which actually consider that sometimes evil and good can be described of us as humans, but sometimes it can actually change us throughout some threats or any that's actually desired with consequences within the world. Also, with this research progress, I'm researching different codes of mortality and different acts of depending on their needs, values, and physical capabilities. With this, I actually come up with some writing questions. One will be like what is purpose of being human, and what are desired consequences, and mirroring past experience. With this, this actually makes up great questions for research questions, which explores a different anonymous mod and setting through its frequent use of violence, which actually contributes in the story how that violence can actually end up something else. In the middle of my research, so looking for some research elements when picking which ones are more reliable or not reliable. Then coming up with my introduction about human nature and how McCarthy relates to violence acts upon us. Then coming up with my topic and thesis statement. For the body of my research, I'm developing actions by cause of by choice and consequences in making a selfish choice, and then pinning on some of the research of the story and how the story made a reality to certain people, and making sure I pinpoint on brief expression about the violence which brings consequences and having negative thoughts, which brings introducing to negative side of someone that could go long lengths in getting someone, or actually upon yourself as well. In conclusion, I want to end up the essay um, with a solid conclusion with violence has desired consequences. Making a progress upon yourself can make it a change in you, and making a solid point that people are different, but doesn't mean that violence can be the answer. And end up with the essay with the goal to everyone that some people have desires to make themselves to help themselves to follow along their life, but sometimes those things can stab you in the back. No matter what you do, you have to know what the situation is about and what kind of consequences can actually really get you back in your present life. So this is my research paper, and this is Valentino Navarrete, and thank you guys so much.